Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode with On the Road with Poker Listings. We are here in sunny Tallinn for the Coolbet Open at Olympic Park Casino in the Hilton Park, and we'll have a series of interviews. But our first guest is the illustrious JJ Hazan, a man that I got to know oddly more during the pandemic time when, typically you're not getting to know people. But welcome to the show, JJ.
Thank you, Jason. Illustrious. Isn't that a painting? I don't know what that is, but it sounds very positive and lovely. Thank you.
If we had some video today, you kind of are like a painting today. You have the beautiful shirt, the nice cap on today as well.
I always wear a hat. I think hats are very. I just got into it, and when I first started playing professionally, 10, 12 years ago, I was kind of known for my shirts. The problem is my stomach has grown a little bit larger, and some of those very nice shirts don't quite fit.
Well, that happens to the best of us, unfortunately. I can unfortunately relate to that as well. I wish I still fit into my wedding suit. I tried it on the other day, and no luck there. But as we get older, we get bigger in the wrong areas.
I got married in the Philippines, where a loose shirt and shorts is the standard. That was fine. I was okay there.
And here at the Coolbet Open, you've come in a few different roles. I know that you're going to be playing later today. You're going to be playing the Pot Limit Omaha, which I know you play every Pot Limit Omaha event when you travel. But you're also going to be the co-commentator, I believe, on the final day of the main event. So quite an interesting trip for you. Yeah, I mean, it's for me, literally, an ideal week is Omaha, 4-5 Omaha, an 8 game, maybe a horse. So 4 or 5 mixed games. And then to be able to do some commentary is a real kind of icing on the cake. So I did some back in Bratislava, where I think you were commentating as well. So we kind of matched up a bit there on a PLO cash game. And the people in that cash game, one of them was one of the Coolbet, two of the Coolbet people, and then the 2 guys that run the festival, who also run PokerListings. So very incestuous, this game, isn't it? It's very incestuous. I was on that table. I think that you commentated.
You were on the table.
Yes,
there you go.
Yes.
You were late. You came later. That's right.
I came late. I won a few pots, and then the table ended, and I wanted to keep playing. But...
And so they reviewed that, and I guess liked what they heard. I'm not a technical commentator, but because I really do kind of understand the game. And I think my analysis is good. But what I try and do is kind of paint pictures and try and give some colour to what's happening.
Back to the illustrious again.
Yes, colour and illustrious, both at the same time. And also it's recognition that in the main, the audience in this part of Europe, English is their second language. And I think that's really important to keep as a thought. So don't use over-complex terms, don't use over-complicated sentences and words. And that's not dumbing down, that's just communicating and understanding who your audience is. And they'll have a mix of technical knowledge and some less. So you're kind of trying to pitch it as much as possible for that audience. And it's almost like, what would I do in this situation? What am I thinking? What are they thinking? What are they thinking the oppo's thinking? So it's kind of meta levels of psychology, position, bet sizing. I think is such a vital part of poker. Get that bet sizing right and you will push the other people to go one way or another. It's a very important strategy. So trying to analyze that, but without being over complex. That would probably be my very, very long way of a strapline.
No, that's interesting, and I'm sure there's some crossover with your stand-up comedy. For those of you that don't know, JJ also does a lot of stand-up comedy in the UK, maybe less so during the pandemic times, but hopefully you get back to it as well. JJ is a funny guy, but I imagine you have to know your audience well.
Funny enough, I went to see Joe Stapleton, who, as you know, is the main EPT or PokerStars commentator, and he does stand-up. Now, I've stopped doing stand-up, but I do improvisation, both live and online. So it's a form of comedy, but you're playing scenes and acting in a comic fashion without any lines, and you haven't got a script, you haven't got gags, but you're playing a stupid character, or you're doing something in a silly way, or they are, and they're playing off you, and you just don't know where it goes. Some people love it. A lot of people love it, and some people don't quite get it. But it isn't stand-up. London stand-up market or world is pretty soulless, and you can literally do what's called an open mic gig, and there's 20 people in the audience, and 19 of them are open mic comics.
Oh,
and a mad person. So it's like
being at a karaoke bar doing karaoke.
Yeah, it's worse. Karaoke, so it's kind of it isn't. I didn't find it interesting. I did it because I was looking at setting a business up, a comedy business in Bali, bringing in comedy shows into the big hotels, which I went and did all my research for. So I wanted to understand. So I spent 2 years doing it. I understood the circuit, understood how the business worked, went to Australia, Perth and Melbourne, met comics there and promoters, so I could get all my supply side sorted out. In the end, I didn't go for that business because it was too risky with the way Indonesian authorities work. So they could have just thrown me out because they didn't like a gag.
Oh,
so
wow. Okay.
That's not a good basis for a business. So
no, for sure not.
But I was really keen on doing it, and I wanted to live out there for winters and things like that. And then I'd play the APT in Asia and things like that.
Very interesting. And then improv, like I've watched a bit of improv. There used to be this show called Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yeah.
At least in the US. I don't know if it was in the UK.
It started in the UK.
Ah, it started in the UK.
In fact, one of the originals, Mike McShane, is now live in London with some friends of mine doing shows at the Comedy Store. So he's been doing, and he's on a tour, a different tour with Paul Merton and Josie Lawrence. Paul Merton's quite a well-known comedian. So, yeah, he was on the original, I think UK and US, and Ryan Stiles was on both. He's a Canadian. So, yeah, a massively popular show in Britain. That's a games version. So one team I'm with called Extreme Improv, which is both, I think it's .tv, Extreme Improv, which is live and online. They are similar in that it's lots of games. You're competing as such. Doesn't matter who wins, that's not the important bit. But it's a competition, whereas most improv is building scenes, and you're just working together to have fun with the audience. Very
cool. And let's get into the poker. So you're here at the Coolbet Open. I know you've traveled a little bit already this year. You just mentioned you were in Prague for the EPT, for example, and now you're here in Tallinn. Now, on the schedule looks fantastic for someone like you. I mean, obviously, for anyone, it's good because you have the 550 main event, which will have, it should be a record-breaking event. We won't know that until after the podcast is released, how many are in. But for someone like you that just enjoys different kinds of games, there's at least 2 PLO events that I'm aware of. Maybe there's 3 actually, because I think there's a PLO 8 event. There's a 8-game event. There is also the Open Face Chinese, which I'm not sure if you also dabble in, but there's a lot of different side events for this. 3 PLOs I can play, and an 8-game if I'm not in day 2 of one of the PLOs. Unfortunately, both the Chinese or Pineapple, if you like, and the High-Low, the PLO 8, is scheduled on the Saturday when I'm commentating on the final table. Oh, okay.
So it's been a bit of a wrench, but I have to give up something to do that, and that's fine. I'm happy doing that, and I'm, as I say, as you said earlier, co-commentating with Christian, who's an Estonian Twitch person, commentator. I don't know him, but I've touched base with him and said hello, and we'll meet up before.
Yeah, and shout out to Christian Loss. He's a friend of mine. He commentates a lot of the events in Estonia. Sometimes I commentate them. Usually he's commentating them. Very good guy. He ran the Cash Game Festival for a short period as well. And shout out to the guys at Win TV where he's streaming as well. But he's a great guy, and I think the chemistry between the two of you, even not having a drink together or a combo outside of the text messenger combos, will be very well. And I'm looking forward to watching that myself. I will be watching the final day because I'm here reporting the Coolbet Open, as you know, and I'll be reporting the final table at least off the stream so that we're not giving spoilers. So I'm really looking forward to this dynamic duo. I think the two of you will work very well together.
Well, the only problem I envisage is that he's both younger, slimmer, and a lot better looking. And to be honest, I get jealous. So, being an old person, been around poker for a long time, played for a long time, these young, talented upstarts are really not good for the game.
I mean, Christian though is something special though. Like I was with Christian, I think it was in Malta. This maybe was 3-4 years ago. It was before the pandemic. It was maybe at the Battle of Malta, and he wasn't working. He was working with the TV table crew, but he wasn't doing commentating. So I invited him in one day, and before just to do like an hour with me, and beforehand we were talking, and he's like, "Yeah, Jason, today you notice I have a nice haircut." I'm like, "Yeah, I was about to comment on that." He's like, "Yeah, they stopped me in the elevator and said, we need a model if you want a free haircut." So we got a free, he's that kind of guy where he's very charismatic and very, he's very nice and approachable.
That's fabulous, Jason. I now hate him even more.
Poor Christian.
He'll be fine. I'll look after him.
And even though you play a lot of Omaha, the last time I saw you before this was at the festival series in Bratislava.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, you did win a trophy.
Yes.
And it was actually in the PokerListings Cup.
That's right. It was, wasn't it?
So that was a Hold'em event that you actually won.
I know. I can play Hold'em as well. I mean, look, this is the issue. I love playing mixed games. I'm a good mixed game player. I was brought up 45 years ago, people, with 5-card draw and 7-card stud. So, that was poker at that point in the world. No limit didn't come in until a good 15 years later. But all the money is in No Limit Hold'em. So my biggest win ever was in No Limit Hold'em because that's where the money goes. That's the main events, etc. So I'm not really ever going to make a huge amount of money out of Omaha and horse and 8 game unless I somehow get put into the 50K WSOP Players Championship.
Let's take JJ.
Anyone out there? Yeah. I have finished ahead of Phil Ivey in a horse event in Vegas when I came 11th and I think he came 18th. But,
there we go.
Yeah, but I don't think that counts as beating him. I just.
What was it like playing with Phil? Were you on the same table?
No, I wasn't. But I was on the same table as Hoyt Corkins, some other very good American players. I remember it was a 2.5K buy-in, and I remember 2.5 hours, about halfway through the tournament, 2.5 hours I didn't play one hand, not even a tickle.
Wow.
Because each hand by hand, especially in limit poker, you have to make early decisions depending on what you've got. It's a very, arguably it's a simple process, but it tests your patience. And then, so, me not to play a hand for 2.5 hours is literally purgatory. But I then got rolled up 9s. That's obviously just in case there's people out there that don't know what it is. 9s in the hole with a 9 showing. So 3 9s for my first 3 cards in stud, 7-card stud, which is an incredible hand. I slow play it all the way through. I hit a boat. I hit my full house with jacks on the 6th street. I raise on 6th street finally. I know someone's got aces, almost certainly over 2 pairs, and the other guy's got a big straight draw with kings. So I know what I'm up against, but I still feel I'm ahead. Hoyt Corkins actually folded, and he had aces over something. To give him credit, he realised I was slow playing something big. The other guy called with kings over 10s, and it looked like a straight draw. And I got paid on 7th. He kept his kings, and he had to hit a king to beat me. And my 9s full house over jacks. So I literally 2.5 times my, so it was a bit more than the double up from where I was. And and that situation came from not playing a hand for 2.5 hours because I couldn't. Whereas in Hold'em, you want to play your 7-8 suited or your 4-5 suited or your ace king, you play it. But your range selection in limit poker has to be a lot more disciplined.
For sure.
Different game.
Especially with stack sizes the way they are. It's like one hand in limit. Like obviously no limit hold'em. It's also one hand you could be out. But in limit hold'em, it could be that you're just doing normal betting and you only have like 5 big bets or 10 big bets. So it's like 1-2 hands can make like a world of different. Stack sizes are often shorter. Yeah. Deeper than they are in no limit events for that reason.
And there's more streets in stud and stud high low because you get 7 cards dealt. So there's more betting streets than in Hold'em. Well, one more. Two more.
Two more.
So, that again, if you're committing to a hand, you don't want to be having to fold on fourth or fifth, every time you play a hand. So I just play a very disciplined poker. I think last time I was in Tallinn, I came third in the horse. So I cashed in the horse here in Tallinn.
That was for the Kings of Tallinn, or that was for the Summer Show?
Kings of Tallinn.
Kings of Tallinn.
Yeah. I'm not very good on... To me, it's just, there's a good week, there's a good festival. I'm not very good at the branding bits.
But you're good at knowing where you want to be. So obviously you wanted to come back to Tallinn. What is it that you like about Tallinn?
Okay. So lovely people for a start. Really, really nice people. From a UK point of view, it's cheap. So I can go and get a really good meal at 75% of the cost of London. Accommodation's cheaper here. Running around on the little scooters, the Bolt scooters, is great fun.
Oh, you don't have that in London?
I think it is in London, but I have a motorbike in London, it's a scooter.
A big boy scooter.
But a big boy scooter, and that's a lot quicker. And I can do 80 miles an hour on the motorway to Stansted and park there and fly here. So you can't do that on one of those little Bolt scooters.
It'd be fun to try, but I don't think they
really
go that
wouldn't.
fast.
Being stuck on the M11 on one of those is not my idea of fun. So, and also I just think London is quite a dangerous place to ride one of those little scooters. There's a lot of young people that have got really fast, their own scooters, and they're bloody fast. And but they're dangerous for pedestrians, for themselves. Just a bit too busy.
It's more for themselves, I think, than the pedestrians even. Because I know two people that have basically, one person had basically his leg fully in a cast for months and months and was in the hospital for a month with an accident on one of them. And another wasn't as bad, but as soon as it happened, he put his scooter up for sale. I tried to buy it off him, but...
on my scooter, I've got protective clothing, a helmet. I've had a bad accident on a scooter, but I just bust my knee up, and it could have been a lot worse. But at least I have some protection, and whereas these guys have absolutely none. And I just... But here it's a bit of fun, just saving my knees for a walk to come to the hotel to play.
And in terms of, let's say, what you plan to do when you're not, so you're visiting restaurants, you're visiting bars. Are you doing any touristy activities as well, or not so much?
Because I've been here a couple of times, probably not. Although the Old Town's really nice. I brought my nephew, who's my kind of poker protege from Stockholm, Svante, who plays.
Shout out to Svante.
Yeah, well, shout out to Svante, who plays with Moritz, the PokerListings boss. So I guess your boss, is that right?
Yeah, my boss, yeah.
So he plays quite regularly in a card club in Stockholm with him. And in fact, I played with Moritz on Saturday night in Stockholm. So there's, I didn't even know there was any connection.
Did you take his money?
No, he knocked me out. My twos ran into his kings. And I was short stacked. And then online, the Unibet online for the festival, I had aces. I hit my full house of 3 aces over 2 eights, and the C blank blank T, who was opposite me, turns over 4 eights. Now, if that wasn't bad enough, I then find out it was Frankie.
Oh, it was Frankie. So you got hit by both those guys.
And he told me later, and I was very, very pissed off in a funny way. I laughed, but of all people, so ironically, I've played the, two guys that run the festival online and live without knowing I was going to play either. I think it's a good thing losing to them, isn't it? Because they're kind of my boss as well, I guess. So in a way, so I think I did it on purpose.
Yeah, it was intentional.
I could have folded my full house of aces over eights easily,
especially to Frankie.
Yeah, yeah. Who when I was commentating on the PLO, couldn't believe how the other 7 people on the table weren't calling him or raising him in every single spot because he bluffed just about 90% of his hands.
That sounds about right. But Maurits has been on fire lately, so he not to take the the shine light off you but for a second we will, because Maurits he was on a final tip, but he maybe even won a scoop recently.
Yes, I heard, and that was literally 2 days ago. Yeah,
and then he also won a package to the festival series, which is kind of very interesting. But that was on Path Poker, so it was on a because the festival series allows you to qualify through many different partners. So
Yes.
he won a package through PAF. It'll be interesting to see how he utilizes that package. But
Well, I'm going to play the Unibet one tonight because I can't play any of the Scandinavian, like the Coolbet version online because I don't have a Scandinavian address. But Unibet is open to UK residents, so I can play that one tonight. There's a package.
Every Wednesday there's a package.
€25 with a rebuy, and it's an $11.50 package. So it's the hotel we're in now, the room we're in right now.
Yeah, you might get this room.
Might do. Room. Come on down. And the main event buy-in. But I will be commentating on the main event. So again, I won't be able to play the main event. But the rest of the week is absolutely fantastic. It's an amazing schedule for reprobates like me that like playing mixed.
Very
events.
cool. Yeah, I'm going to be a man of many trades, so I'll probably join you in the booth for a short period here and there when I have the time, and or give you a break from now and then because I can't.
Well, I don't know what
days.
I'm doing. I know George Sanford, who does a lot of the commentary in Bratislava, he'll be doing some as well because there's quite a few invite cash games that are being televised and the main event.
Okay.
So we're still working out who's going to.
It'll probably be a little bit like last time where all three of us are doing it at different times, we'll see.
I just, want to make sure I get to play the tournaments I want to play, and I don't get too much clashing with that. So it's probably better I do the main event because I can then play earlier in the week the tournaments that might clash with the cash games.
And I can do cash games pretty well, so
I
I
think George is meant to be doing those, but we'll see. We'll work it out.
But I could give both you guys breaks because I'm going to be doing a little bit of everything there, a little bit of live reporting, a little bit of media coordination. It'll be a good time.
It's a lovely schedule. Lovely schedule.
And I want to get back to cash games. So we just talked about cash games, and we also talked about mixed games. But I don't think I've seen you playing too many mixed cash games. Do you dabble in that at all?
I don't think I'm a good enough both Hold'em and Omaha cash game player. I think there are better players than me out there. I choose not to have deep pockets for that kind of play, and I think you need to, especially when you're playing 4, 5, 6 Omaha, and in Britain, in London, everyone chooses 6. I do play a little bit sometimes if I'm knocked out of a tournament. I do, however, I have played regular dealer's choice games in London, both limit and pot limit, and that's literally, choosing high-low or choosing 7 super stud, which is a version of 7-card stud high-low, or 5-card Omaha, whatever. So you choose your game and then you play a round of each game that a player has chosen. And that can get quite juicy. But I'm more confident playing that, ironically, than just Omaha.
Okay, maybe we got a game going this week. I played some Speed and Special last night, but only for an hour because I just didn't have a lot of time.
Yeah,
but I love playing. Like we played some limit games in Malta recently, and we played some pot limit games.
If I'm free, I'm always up for that kind of fun play with mates, mixed games because it's great fun, and it doesn't really matter if you lose a couple of hundred or win a couple of hundred. But I also play reasonably high level in a particular private game in London. That's unfortunately, it was actually at Sir Clive Sinclair's flat, who the inventor of the C5 in the 70s. He died quite recently, so that game has kind of not been run for about 6 months now.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, he was. I mean, I've got a picture of him with me just out of hospital with COVID, and him on his cancer kind of journey because he had cancer. He was playing every week, absolutely without fail, and dealing with a serious cancer treatment for the 2 years prior to him dying. So and he's a good guy. I mean, he looks like the dotty professor, English, whatever, but he loved gambling and women. So what someone looks like can often not be what they're really like. He was a great character, and very fastidious. Anyone slow played in his game, oh my God, they heard about it.
Oh wow, okay. It sounds like the way I want to go out. Like it's like if I know I'm going to be dying soon, I think I will play as much poker as possible, spending as much time with my family as possible.
Yeah.
Not the womanizing because that's not me, but the poker part.
I'm not sure whether he was that proud of marrying 33-year-old Babette, a stripper from Stringfellows.
Oh boy.
That didn't last too long, weirdly, and then she took him for an awful lot of his money, and he is a rich man. After the flat we played at literally overlooks Trafalgar Square.
God, wow.
It's an amazing venue. Small flat, but it was a great premise, a great venue. So, and he had 2 flats on the same floor, plus loads of other stuff. So he'd invested well from over the years, and was a very, very clever man. But, shame he's gone, because it was he's played that game for 40 years. He used to be in the RAC club years ago in Whitehall, and it's kind of, and in fact, 2 of him and 1 other have played it for at least 30 years. So,
So it's not like a game that developed during the pandemic, like a lot of games did.
We played more in the pandemic than any other time.
Yeah, but there was other games that just came from nowhere because people couldn't go to Aspers or to the Vic or anywhere to play.
Well, and the whole of Britain, Birmingham especially, went massive on private games, but the operators were quite greedy, and some of them were definitely dodgy. So you had to be very careful where you played. There's a very big game in Chelsea. It's 2-5 Omaha with a 5% rake, but a £50 max, which was normally met. That's a huge amount of money to take out of. Even if the pot's $5,000, it's still a lot on a regular basis.
Yeah, typically you play private games not only because of the juicy people that might show up, but because of the reduced rake. And sometimes no rake at all, you just pay an entry fee and you pay for drinks and you leave some tips.
Yeah, absolutely. And even when casinos came back, they were still trying to maintain those private games, but getting a bit more desperate for punters because there were not enough punters to share around. And I played a couple in other places, but in fact, the only one I regularly played was another DC limit game, which was a lot of fun in Ealing. But that was run by an old gut shot.
I love the gut shot.
Yeah, I mean, I think back, gut shot and then became the International was a training ground for some great poker players. So the people I played with include Praz Banzi, James Aikenhead, one of the only people to have made final table of the World Series of Poker, Europe and Vegas in the same year. Liv Barry, who won an EPT.
I didn't know Liv played there. Okay, interesting.
Liv was a very good friend of mine, and we literally kind of, I was a bit like her uncle, you kind of thing, in a way, not in a weird way. Very lovely, attractive, intelligent woman, but was an awful player when she first started. But she's very bright, picked things up quick, and then won an EPT, which is fantastic, and is now, I think, a very good player. And Igor, her partner, has made her a better player.
Yeah, but she obviously is very good with game theory. I remember watching the Golden Balls episode. It was probably not when it first came out, but the how she approached that was. I wouldn't be able to do it because I'm too straightforward of a guy. If I tell somebody I'm going to split the prize with you, I'm going to split the prize. But it's like she used like such GTO strategies in that game, and then you could see that if she's already thinking about the game meta, and that applies pretty well to poker situations. It's
her first sponsorship was actually not poker related. It was a drinks brand, just because she was pretty. It wasn't really anything to do with her poker ability. So I was a bit pissed off at that. In that this old fat white bloke's never going to get sponsored. But Liv can walk because she's gorgeous, can walk in and get sponsorship. But no, I was very pleased for her. And then she got real. I think PokerStars got PokerStars sponsorship once she'd done well, which is great.
She made the most of everything. She's not a bad,
clever and nice and active and leads a good life and is environmentally friendly, and there's a lot of positives about Liv for sure. And Sam Grafton.
Sam as well.
I literally was with Sam from the very, very first tournament he ever played.
That's interesting.
And I know you'll remember, but it's going back in time. So when I was on Dragon's Den in 2008, pitching for them to back me playing poker, I actually had a backup plan to have a team of poker players with kind of premier Championship and Division 2, three levels of budgets. And I identified Sam in about a month of playing, say, twice a week with him. And even though he was awful and just spewed chips or whatever, I recognised that he had everything you need to be a champion, to win. And to me, poker's never about playing to cash. You always play to win because all the money is up top. It's that simple. Now, if you chop it 3 or 4 people, you still get, an excellent return. So it's not about always playing to win when you're down to 2 or 3 players. You preferably make it, I always try and make a deal and then play for a bit and the trophy, which is a good way, which is what I did in Bratislava. So it's a good way of a more business-like approach to, winning money. But, and Sam Grafton he'd be one of my rookie
Sam
at that
Grafton. That's
point.
funny to think.
Well, yeah. And now look where he's got. In fact, I was in London with him quite recently at the UK IPT. His grey beard, and he was a kid. Now he's got a grey beard and a very nice girlfriend and a lovely life, and has done very, very well both live and online. So yeah.
Yeah, he's a bit of a beast.
Yeah, but I've got a good eye, I think, for a player, and because I've run businesses and employed people and have a master's in communication and a degree in psychology. So all those things, kind of that package, I think gives me a good eye for going, he's got the package. Once he learns the game, which is one element, because a lot of people can learn how to play poker, but they haven't got the right full package to make the best of that. And he absolutely had it. And I recognised it in him very, very early. And I'm really pleased for him. He's done so well.
Very cool. And you brought up the Dragon's Den. I was going to bring that up anyway, but I'm going to bring it up now. But I found that pretty cool. So the Dragon's Den, basically you went in and made a pitch. So how did that to get staking for yourself?
Yeah.
So how did you get on the show?
You have to apply through BBC website. I think it's something like 2 years to get back to me. Then you have phone interviews. Then you have filmed interviews. Those tapes are shown to the producer. So a lot of due diligence. My due diligence file was a full, those files you see lawyers walk around with, a full box of papers. And the BBC do, so everything you say, they check out and double check. And the funniest one, I won a side event at the Vic in a festival, can't remember which one, might have been a GUKPT, and first prize was £20,000. It was a 500 buy-in. So when you look on Hendon Mob, you see JJ Hazan, £20,000. So I showed them my Hendon Mob and explained what Hendon Mob was and how the data gets there. And then they said, "Oh, can you show me the payment in your bank?" And I went, well, no, it was paid out in cash. In fact, I netted 16,000, not 20, but that's what it shows on Hendon Mob because we did a deal. So I said, well, no, it was paid out in cash. And the guy just didn't believe me because he knew nothing about, he's a BBC young, lovely producer. So I had to get a letter from the Vic confirming that I'd won that money and that they paid me. I mean, because of course, we're all in the poker world, and I guess most of the listeners are in the poker world or linked to it. But when you're not in the poker world, it's a very alien world. The language we use, the assumptions we make, the handshakes on a deal, the literally playing in one night and walking out with 10K in your pocket. Things, that we see as normal, of course, are fairly alien outside of our world.
And basically, to finish the story, you basically went through the process, you got approved, and then you went on the show.
Yeah.
And then obviously you didn't get approved for the staking at the end, otherwise there would be even a more interesting story about that. But were you expecting to get approved, or how did you feel after the show?
Just to take one step back, I was facilitating professionally, my job was facilitating government and corporate executives to have better impact and presentation. So I was teaching them, not just doing it. So I had a very good knowledge and command of presentation, image, messages, communication, body language, all that stuff, because I was teaching it. But it is a totally cold pitch. So until you walk in front of them, they know absolutely nothing about you. And in no other walk in life does that happen.
Yeah.
So let's say you are bidding for a government contract. You'd have had emails, you'd have responded to a pitch, information issue, like an award thing. You may have had verbal conversations because they invite that. So you're not going in cold. They know about you because you've done a proposal. So they know about your company, what you're saying you can do, how much you're saying you can do it for. So when you go for that meeting, the presentation, it's not cold. And you've rehearsed it. Now, I rehearsed mine. I wrote lines. I learnt it. But the BBC, made me do it wearing sunglasses, which I have never worn in a poker tournament. I think those that do wear sunglasses inside are of a certain ilk. I'm going to keep it clean. It's just unnecessary. It's ridiculous. The other one was they made me do it behind a poker table, which I didn't want to do because I thought it was gimmicky. But when the BBC researcher that takes you through the entire journey says to you, JJ, the producers have asked me to, see if you could do it behind a poker table. They feel it would add production values, really good production values to your pitch. What do you think? Now, if you basically think that's a really stupid idea, you can't say that because at any point in time, they can jettison you from the process.
Okay.
So there's a inbuilt persuasion process that has to fit in with what the Beeb want. Okay, really, and they deliver it in lovely tones and very gentle. But it means if you don't agree to what they want, especially when they say the producers have asked, right? And it's like sort of not quite totalitarianism personified, but it's quite clear that if you don't agree, you may not go further. So, and I wanted to go further, but I didn't think I'd actually get backed by the Dragons, but I thought if someone saw it, then that might interest them. And in fact, a company did make an offer to back me, but it was a company I wouldn't want to work with.
Okay.
They were one of these very high interest loan companies that prey on the poor and the desperate, and that's just not me. So, I politely declined. And, I'd have had to wear their brand and all that.
And do Dragons then pay people to come on the show, or all that time you invest, and if you don't get a deal, you're getting obviously publicity. So if you're selling a product, your product is getting free publicity.
Some people are very clever and use Dragons Den literally as a clever marketing tool for their existing successful product. Others use it to get coverage, if you like, or get their idea or their product wider known. My story was like the interesting story because I wasn't selling a product. I was offering a service, if you like, or as they saw it, a risk. So Theo Profiti said, I buy businesses cheap and sell them high. That's what I do. So he was the one that bought Costanza, I think they're called, or he bought Ryman's as well. Ryman's was in trouble. So he buys trouble businesses, adds value to them, and then sells them high. And he saw me as a risk investment, even though my return on investment, my ROI, to keep it in business terms, was 250% for 3 years, year on year. And that's a good return.
Yeah, so, that's something that poker players almost never see.
No, but businesses from year one, if you like, don't have that kind of return.
Yeah.
Okay, that was skewed by one big win, but it was still true. So
that's how you present your facts.
Absolutely. Massage statistics, schmatistics. I don't know if that's a thing. But yeah, but I tried to present it in a business-like way, which is why I didn't want the gimmicky bits. But I had to. Good.
So enough about the Dragon's Den. We have a surprise,
yes.
I'm told, JJ, that you didn't want to share with me before we came on. So what is this big surprise? I'm on my toes right now.
This is interesting. You've actually got an exclusive, Jason, and you didn't even know it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
This is literally an announcement because this is the first contact. This is pre-press release announcement. So you've got me at a very good time. So yesterday I was signed up as an ambassador for Poker Against Plastic Pollution.
Oh, wow.
So that is a new initiative by a company called EcoSec, Ecological Security, ecosec.co.uk. And because I'm quite well known in the poker world, and I know and I travel around quite a bit and know most of the operators and card rooms, they're using me to kind of make connections and help get the bags out there. Now, it was just launched, so 888 in Barcelona used them for the first time. And if you go on Ian Simpson, the new 888 ambassador, the ex-Unibet sponsored player, he posted him with the bag going into day 2.
Go Ian. Okay.
So, yeah, which is brilliant.
So we're talking about the chip bags. I was thinking about cups for some reason.
Yeah, no, we're talking about chip bags that are both biodegradable and secure. So that's and it's a massive change. Now, the pricing is very similar to what people are already paying. So we're not even looking at charging extra. We're trying to keep the pricing so that the initiative takes off. But for every 1,000 bags, we're reducing approximately 13 kilos of potential plastic pollution. That's a huge amount. That's a real tangible step forward. But also, as a company, what we're going to do is we're going to plant a tree for every 1,000 bags sold.
Oh, nice.
So that's a nice thing. We're going to encourage players to donate a small amount or a very small percentage of winnings because they've got the bag on day 2, and also to promote it online with their own social media, so that it's very much seen as a players and operators kind of initiative. It's a poker industry initiative. And we got kind of generic bags that you can put labels and things on, and we can do customized versions for the larger operators, let's say like PokerStars Live, or who I've started talking to, even in the one day I've been ambassador, and probably what would be the next one, but Grosvenor in the UK, and Prague and Rosvadov Kings. And I know. In fact, when I was at Kings recently, Leon recognised me from 15 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Which was quite so. I got a nice picture
He has a good memory.
with Maureen from Swiss Poker and me and Leon. He's got a hell of a good memory if you can remember me from then. So, the bags are designed to encourage environmental awareness, through players posting and stuff. And they're a big success at Barcelona Live, which is great. So I'm really proud.
No, it's something to be proud of. We're talking about potentially tons of plastic waste not happening now because if everybody does it, it's literally tons.
Yeah, and again, we're not favouring any brands or any operators out there. It's the same price, the same system for everyone. If people want more and want bespoke stuff, that can all be done. So a lot of it's linked to need. And I'm going to be now, getting out there, if you like, and helping the company kind of make the initiative happen. So that's really exciting. And if we can get it a pan-European kind of sign up, which I think we can the next 3 or 4 months, then I'll look to go to Vegas in October, so post summer series. In fact, WSOP are already interested, but of course it's the new operators' first year. They were full on, couldn't see us then, couldn't see us in the last few weeks, but they'll be up for discussions in October. So hopefully I'll set up meetings with Venetian and Win and MGM and Golden Nugget. And Golden Nugget have 2 major events in during the World Series. One of them has 7-day ones and one has 6-day ones.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that's a lot of bags.
Yeah.
Even though it's a $200 buy-in or whatever.
The buy-in doesn't matter. It's the amount of bags.
Absolutely. And the WSOP, as you well know, has a need for many thousand probably just during the summer. And then you've got Venetian with their regular showdowns that they have throughout the year, plus the big summer one. And I think that will be exciting. If we can get the initiative and show, look, it's working here in Europe, where we know people and can get to them cheaply and easily, then either me or the CEO or both will go to Vegas. I mean, I don't know operators in Vegas, but it won't be hard to find them. I know who they are. I just haven't got personal connections with them. But people like Leon.
You're very good at networking now. So
and people like Leon and Frankie here or whatever. Everyone knows people, and people are very nice about sharing contacts if it's for a good thing. And this is a great thing.
Yeah.
So it's really exciting. I can now apparently be reached on jj@ecosec.co.uk. Not that I've set it up yet.
But you could be reached there.
But by the time this is broadcast, I will.
Very good. And I know there's a lot of industry people that do listen to the podcast. So
Great.
Those of you that are listening, get in touch with JJ.
Absolutely.
He just shared his email address.
Yeah, here to help. I'm on social media as well, Facebook and Insta and stuff. Don't use Insta much because it's for young people. And I'm not young. I can now play Super Seniors. I'm just leaving it there. I'm saying nothing else. But I now qualify for Super Seniors.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm excited about when I can play my first Seniors event, but it's not too long away anymore.
I've won a couple of Seniors, actually, and I love Seniors because I really am the youngest on the table, mentally, emotionally, sometimes in reality. So I love Seniors events. They're really good fun to play, and they're fairly soft, to be honest. You'll love it.
Well, I'm very excited to hear about your initiative, and I'm going to try to think of ways that I can actually support it. Maybe we write an article about it also.
Yeah,
so there's a
couple of press releases out there, and I think they're available on the EcoSec website. So the 888 press release, I think there's another small online operator, 555, weirdly, that have bought and coming in. So, but it's literally just starting. So, and I've been brought on to help get it kind of out there. So it's not my initiative. Someone else started it.
But perhaps we'll sit for an interview this week and just get some quotes about the new product. We get it up on PokerListings, and
that would be great. And I mean, there are visuals, there are press releases and things already. The website's populated. You can buy 100 bags, 500 bags, 1,000 on the website. You can have labels done for you. There's a free logo.
So Coolbet could get like their Coolbet logo on
If Coolbet want, they'd have to buy 1,000 to get a free logo, or they'd have to pay a bit on the smaller order. But 1,000's about right for.
Yeah, they go through because there's a lot of 2-day events, and then the main is a 3-day event.
And they're running it 3 times a year, something like that.
Twice a year.
So even a small, relatively in the world of poker, relatively small operator that can get involved and have their logo on it. And there's lots of really exciting future things I can't talk about now, but that involve QR codes and technology and things that really, really are exciting.
That sounds exciting.
But that's way off. Months, weeks, days even. But it's really exciting. I'm really honoured that EcoSec have asked me to be involved. I've always run environmentally friendly businesses outside of poker and repurposing everything and buying from locally and that kind of thing in my food companies. So I've always subscribed to it as an individual anyway. And it's in the zeitgeist now. Plus, I think it's a business priority to be as environmentally friendly as possible. And any poker operator that doesn't get involved will be behind. Is that simple?
Yes. Well, I'm very excited to learn about this, and I'm very thrilled for you personally as well, because I think you are the right man for the job. You have the network, you have the desire to be doing something positive for the environment and the poker community, and this kind of checks off a lot of boxes. So congratulations on that.
Thank you very much. And it is really exciting, and I wouldn't have said yes if literally I hadn't ticked all those boxes myself. So
very good.
Thanks for that, Jason.
And I'm just looking at the time. You have 5 minutes before the PLO event starts.
I like going in level 2 anyway.
Level 2. So you have 25 minutes then. Yeah. There we go. So I think it's 20-minute blinds in that.
Is it? I've not even looked, but yes.
But I also need to run back to doing some live reporting. I left poor Arvid by himself on the floor.
Okay.
He's more than capable, but I'm sure he's wondering where Jason has flown off to at this point in time.
Fair enough.
So I want to thank you, though, for coming on the show, JJ. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and we'll have to play some cash games, or at least have a beer or two this week.
I think a beer and a mixed game sounds real. That's the right way of playing.
Yeah, we can combine that.
Now we're colleagues. I mean, we're colleagues now, Jason, apparently.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of.
Yeah. We're in the same kind of industry thing. We've always been kind of like out for the same thing. We both want what's good for the poker community. That's always my focus, and then I bounce around the business end of things. But it's
we all have to earn a living.
Yeah.
But hopefully in the right way. So
I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't have a passion for the poker community and for poker itself. It's a great community. You know, there's some outliers, of course, but in general, the poker community is amazing, and meet a lot of amazing people as well.
Yeah.
But thank you again, JJ. Best of luck
Jason.
in the PLO and with your new project.
Yep, lovely. Looking forward to getting it out there, and looking forward to hearing this when it's out as well. I'm so egotistical. I like hearing my own voice on a podcast. That's so sad.
Yeah, usually people don't like hearing their own voices.
No, I'm fine with it. I don't care. But I'm also quite critical. I will listen to something, I'll analyse it and see how I can improve, just like my poker. So it isn't actually for ego reasons at all. It is more for, I could have said that better, or I missed something, or, you know.
Well, we'll have to do this again. We'll be at the festival series as well together in Tallinn. So that might be too soon, but maybe for the one in Bratislava will be a nice spacing, and
October in Bratislava.
Yeah, maybe that'll be when. But we'll see. But I'm sure we'll have you back on
hopefully,
again.
EcoSec, the initiative itself, Poker Against Plastic Pollution, will have gained traction by then. So that could be a good kind of time to revisit that.
Very good. Okay. Thank you again, JJ. Take
Thanks,
care.
mate. Cheers.